So Jesus Christ is telling his disciples that they should observe those things he has commanded them. Now, some of us, because of the way we have learned the gospel, some of us have stick to a concept like grace. And anytime you don't see grace as Christ, like grace is a person. It's not just a concept, not an idea. Grace is a person, and it's the person of who? Christ. We still read from the Old Testament, because where did Jesus Christ teach all the new covenant, all the revelations you will see, he taught from the word Old Testament. So when I want to interpret the Bible, what as a good disciple of Jesus Christ, what I should bring out from the Old Testament is what the same thing I should be able to bring out Christ. If you're not bringing out Christ, then you're not a disciple of Christ. As a minister of Christ, as a disciple of Christ, what I should bring out every time I study the Bible, the same thing that Jesus Christ did with scriptures. The same thing that Jesus did with the Bible is the same thing I should do with the Bible. So what should we preach when we go out? That repentance and remission of sins should be preached in his name. So people say, God told me I should preach, I should do deliverance. What kind of deliverance? I'm not against deliverance, but what kind of deliverance are you doing? If the deliverance you are preaching is not what Christ has done for the believer, then we stay away from you. The deliverance that we have is what Christ has done. If any other deliverance you are doing is the one that have to conduct you, you cannot do deliverance for me. You yourself, who delivered you? There's a difference between casting out devils and deliverance. There are two different things. If you read Colossians 1, who have delivered us from the kingdom of darkness and has translated us into the kingdom of his what? His dear son. We are in the kingdom of his dear son. That's why you can do those things you are doing. The Old Testament scriptures lets us know he will dwell in us. So when we study, say, Lord, I'm with you always. When you study the Old Testament, you see like, I will put my spirit within them. I will cause you to walk in my righteousness. It's there. It's not in the Old Testament. Even the forgiveness of sins that we're talking about today, it was in the Old Testament. So all the forgiveness of sin you will see in the New Testament was preached in the Old Testament. The word Christ in the four gospels is used 62 times. In the epistles, it's used about 700 times. If I want to understand what Christ taught, I want to know what he was explaining, I will not see it in the four gospels. Because in that 40 days after Jesus' resurrection, we saw his emphasis on what he started teaching them things concerning himself. When we look at what the disciples of Jesus started teaching, we will see the details of what he taught. If we want to teach the revelation of Christ, we are going to find it in the works of Paul. The disciples, how did they interpret the Bible? They brought Christ out. How are you as a disciple of Christ going to interpret the Bible? You will also do what? Bring out Christ. But worldly wisdom is not bad though. But as a Christian, the one we are studying is the wisdom that comes from Christ. When you come to church here, the same thing we're trying to do. They are raising you as a disciple of Christ to raise others also. All these things we are learning, the reason why you don't carry Bible to church is because you don't want to have somebody you want to teach. You're only concerned about yourself. If you really see people that know the Bible, say, let's open it, let's see scriptures. Don't waste your time on people that say, forget about Bible. We don't just believe things. We get it from the scriptures. In discipleship, after you preach to a man and you get him saved, even if he's a pastor, you keep praying for him. There are some people that are saved. What happens to them is that as they come into church, they came in with their culture. My people say, you are not doing my people say as a believer now. Your culture now, your tradition is not the gospel. I don't have any other tradition. That's why we spend time studying this thing. Your tradition, the way you now live your life, the way you now act is the gospel. The gospel says I should forgive. I'll forgive. The gospel says I should love. What is my own love? He not say do somebody, do and pay him back the way he do you. That's why as a believer, when we talk about renewing your mind, is that as we study gospel, we change our mind to the way scriptures ask us to change it.